I sensed something was off the second I walked in and my mother wouldn't meet my eyes. She just stared at the stack of papers spread across the kitchen island, my bank statements, laid out like evidence for a trial I apparently wasn't invited to. My father stood next to her, arms folded, jaw tight. And my sister, that smug little grin on her face, the same one she used to wear after swiping my Halloween candy and daring me to call her out. I remember thinking the house felt colder than usual. Or maybe it was just me, realizing I'd stepped straight into a trap I never saw coming. "Where's the money?" I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. My mother didn't even blink. "It's been handled," she said. Handled. As if nearly $1 million could be brushed off like a dish that cracked in the sink. I felt my pulse throbbing in my neck. My grandfather was 3 miles away in the ICU. His operation, his last shot, was scheduled for the next morning. That money was meant for him. My money. Years of work, saving, investing, building. My sister pushed her hip against the counter and shrugged. "We need it more than he does," she said, completely unfazed. "He's old." My father didn't bother pretending to soften. "He should just die," he muttered. And then, bang, the front door swung open behind me. Just the wind. But at the time it felt like the world cracking. That moment wasn't the beginning. It was the end of the beginning. People think betrayal comes with red flags. It doesn't. It wears the face of ordinary evenings, Christmas mornings, inside jokes over burgers at the grill. My parents were never perfect, but they were stable, predictable, or so I thought. I trusted them because that's what kids do. We hand them the blueprint to our lives and assume they'll never use it against us. My grandfather was the only one who ever cautioned me. "Family isn't who shares your blood," he'd say. "It's who shares your heart." I didn't get it back then. I do now. The first warning was tiny. My dad suddenly too curious about my accounts. My mom offhandedly mentioning how much I must have saved. But the real sign was the quiet. The kind of silence people keep when they believe they're outsmarting you. Then came the undeniable proof, a transfer notification. $120,000 gone without my approval. Then more, and more, until the total hit $990,000. Nearly everything. When I called them, my mother's voice shook, not with fear, but annoyance. "We'll talk when you get here." I didn't shout, didn't accuse, didn't break. Something inside me turned cold. A door shutting. People assume revenge is messy. It isn't. Real revenge is structure. During the drive home, I rebuilt everything. I contacted the bank, triggered fraud procedures, locked down what was left. I called an attorney, one who dealt with elder financial abuse and family misappropriation. Then I did the simplest, most devastating thing. I gathered every record. Not just bank logs, but texts, emails, IP evidence. My parents weren't masterminds. They were amateurs. By the time I reached their house, the trap was already reversed. They just didn't know it. The bang behind me wasn't dramatic. It was only the wind catching a loose latch. But they didn't know that. They jumped. All three of them. Funny how guilt turns everything into a threat. I stepped closer. "I know what you took," I said. "And exactly how you did it." My father stiffened. "You can't prove." The bank already did. His jaw snapped shut. I didn't have to raise my voice. There was no need. "I've filed a report," I continued. "A full audit. And since that money was intended for a medical procedure, it qualifies as aggravated financial exploitation." My mother went pale. My sister's smirk vanished. "And because you use Grandpa's medical crisis as your excuse," I added, "it becomes a felony." My father's hands trembled. He shoved them in his pockets to hide it. "That's," he started, "fair." I finished. "No, neither is stealing a man's chance to live." No one breathed for a moment. Then I delivered the final blow. "I've transferred Grandpa's guardianship to myself. It's effective immediately." My sister blinked at me like she couldn't process the words. "And," I said, watching their faces tighten, "I authorized the surgery. It's already paid for." "How?" my mother whispered. "I planned ahead," I said. "Something you should have done before you decided to rob me." My attorney showed up 23 minutes later. Right on cue. He handed them the documents, civil charges, criminal filings, asset freezes. Everything. Quiet. Clean. Precise. My parents fell into their chairs. My sister pressed herself into the corner like she was trying to disappear. I didn't stay to watch the collapse. Their downfall wasn't entertainment. It was justice. My grandfather made it through the surgery. When he woke up, he squeezed my hand, his eyes cloudy but warm. "You did the right thing," he whispered. Maybe he knew. Maybe he'd sensed it all along. I don't feel guilt, not anymore. Some people carve out the decay. I simply stopped acting like it wasn't there. Revenge didn't return my $990,000, but it gave me something far more valuable. A life free of leeches and the clarity to never let anyone, even those who claim to love me, get close enough to my throat again.